attention never empty. Still playing a mental trick on me. Listen, you check you and me check me.
I'm gonna go ahead and add this stream and Shalom. Y'all rock come y'all watch my shot y'all shot your brother Cross Isaiah Bunny y'all. We back at it like Torah addicts out of rehab and we about to get it cracking real quick. Let me turn this mode up real quick. Alright, so now you can see me. So alright, so as everybody knows, we usually do live stream on YouTube, but right now we're having a depth of on Facebook. But right now we're having Facebook connection issues. You know, I've been getting monitored off of Facebook a lot. You know, I've been sharing a lot of vital information that's helpful for our nation, but Facebook has actually been blocking this information, and all of its information is coming from their scholars. You know, but at the same time, they're blocking it. So it just shows you the injustice, you know, that we're operating in this wicked system. You know, so let's get to this real quick. So I did a Facebook post, and for those of you who don't know, you can find me on Facebook under the name of Isaiah, I-S-A-I-A-H, Yashar Allah, Y-A-S-H-A-R-A-A. L-A, Yashar Allah. Yashar Allah is how you say Israel or Israelite in the correct language. Yashar Allah. Because we're actually not Hebrew Israelites. We're actually Yashar Allah, Yashar Allah. All right. Or Ibar Yah, Yashar Allah. Or Ibar Yashar Allah. Ibar Yah is our language, and Ibar is our grandfather. So Ibar Yashar Allah. All right. That glare from my forehead was starting to mess up getting my attention. All right. So let's get to this real quick. So if everybody remembers, there was a movie that came out a while back, and you know it's been popular, it's been popular for quite some time. You know, it's called It. The movie is called It. So I'm gonna end up speaking on this multiple times because we're in the midst of this whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein and Petio Island, Child Molester Island. All right, and the funny thing about the whole Child Molester Island is when we look at the news, we see all these Edomite women that are coming forward and they're saying like, hey, you know, I was this young, and you know, he had me over here, and I went here, and he flew me here, and you know, he paid for everything, but I'm just so disgusted. Well, listen, a part of the story that they're not telling y'all is that these European Edomite girls were getting paid to bring in other girls. But here's the thing: where were they bringing these girls from? If you look at Epstein Island was directly center smack in between the Virgin Islands. So in the Virgin Islands, you have the bottom, you know, the Caribbeans, and you have the top, you know, do cardio every day. Puerto Rico, you know, you have Jamaica, you know, the point is, this is truly disturbing information because the way Esau tries to paint the light is that they're the victim, when actually, you know, the majority of the time they're the prey, the predator. They're, you know, I mean, whatever, man. You know, they're everything, man. Where you're not, Esau is just the devil that the Bible speaks of. I'm not in shape because, you know, I don't know. But when we're looking at this and we're seeing, you know, here's your chance to put all those myths. This isn't a nation that's new. You can think that I'm to this wickedness. You know, this Edomite nation has been doing this for a long time, man. You know, the rape, robbery, and murder of the children of Israel has been going on for so long that it's normal now.
Place your hands on your stomach.
Let's get a scripture real quick.
Where is most of the fat?
We get a couple scriptures, and since we're doing a screen share, I will be pulling up information so you all will be able to watch it with me. That's one of the benefits of doing the videos like this, is because we can do screen share, and then with screen share, you know, you'll be able.
Now, how long have you been?
You know, you can see what I see. So let's pull it up real quick.
That's in your hands right now. And why haven't you taken care of this before?
Let's start with the book.
Losing weight does not mean always being
the bodium.
Losing weight does not mean.
Let's start with the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32.
And before you slam me with the whole, that's easy for you to say. This isn't about me.
Deuteronomy,
this is about the thousands of people worldwide.
Chapter 32. And as y'all know, I like to use Blue Letter Bible, and the reason being is because Blue Letter Bible has
still lose weight faster than you ever have. There is a simple way to completely transform,
easily accessible information that you can just pull up, and it's like, oh man, that was really easy. That wasn't hard to find out at all.
Wolverine movie.
And the reason being is because KJV, DLB. The reason being is because it has an online concordance, and I very much like this concordance. So if you ever get ready to use Blue Letter Bible,
sporting.
This is what it looks like. All right, so you'll see this little image of the screen and the book. All right, so it's Blue Letter Bible.
Yes, they have zero time.
We're gonna go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32.
Starting in just a few weeks.
It's luckily, y'all.
So
I had some,
can't waste time
some delicious chili earlier, man. So some turkey chili, man. So salute to some turkey chili, and they made some cornbread go with it, man. It's one of my favorite meals, man. Cornbread and chili, man.
Where many diet books and trainers and
screen
dietitians.
I don't know if y'all can see that, but my screen is glitching and doing everything I don't want to do. I just wiped it down with one of these Clorox sanitary disinfectant
wipes. That answer is
and
unfortunately complicated.
I don't think you're supposed
There's
to.
no doubt.
Rub touch screens with these, man. I hope it gets better, but right now that boy bugging.
Fiber.
I am not. I think it's different sensor points is hit. I might have to clean it off and then start my screen over.
Women.
All right, so let's do this. Let me see.
These same rules apply to a lot of vegetables as well. And I know it's enough to make your head spin. How can you possibly know?
I think I might have some trouble if I try to use the touch screen, so I'm just going to avoid using the touch screen.
What's the fastest way from where you're at right now?
All right, so the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 32. If you can see it, it's right here until my screen sensor stops messing up. The scriptures read, since the children of Israel disobeyed the Most High, since we broke his law, statutes, and commandments, since we didn't obey, and since we went out of his way and we made him jealous, he said that he would do something else. The Most High said that he would make us jealous. Now, I got my sword with me, so I'm gonna read out my sword while everybody's able to see it. So the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32 real quick. I'm gonna start at verse 16. Watch what the Most High say. He says, they provoked him to jealousy with strange powers, with strange gods. They provoked him to jealousy with strange powers, with abominations. Provoked they him to anger. So this is what you Negroes and Hispanics, Cubans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, this is what you Negroes that were scattered north, south, central, and even into the interior of Africa. This is what we have to remember, that when we made our power jealous, what the Most High did was he did the old switcheroo. He made us jealous. And this is something else that when you're reading the epistles of Paul, this will really help a lot of brothers to understand the Gentiles' ministry and their purpose in this, because the Most High prophesied that he was going to use the Goyim all the way back in Deuteronomy chapter 32. So right here, the Most High says, since we made him jealous, verse 16, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 16, it reads, they provoked him to jealousy with strange Allahayim, with abominations provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Allahayah, to powers whom they knew not, to new powers that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Let's get down to verse 21. Let's see what 21 says. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not a power. They have provoked me with their vanities. All right, let me scroll this up. So we're right here at verse 21. All right. This is what we're seeing. So Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 1. This is what the Most High said he would do to us. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. I will move them to jealousy. You see that? The Most High says, listen, don't tell a man that he petty. All right. Don't say, oh man, so what? I committed adultery. You just gonna throw me away and get a new wife? You petty. No, you petty. No, yes, you committed adultery. All right. I'm not talking to anyone specifically, but I am talking about, you know, when people don't understand that the Most High has a masculine male vibration. All right. The way he perceives us is a marriage, a relationship. Okay. Allahayah, Yahushai is our bride. We're his bride. He's the bridegroom. So this is what the power said to us. He said, they have moved me to jealousy with that which is not a God. All right. Now watch what he says he will do. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. Wait, watch this. I will move them to jealousy. So the Most High says, since we provoked him to jealousy, he's going to provoke us back to jealousy. But how did he say he was going to do that? He said he was going to do that with a foolish nation. All right. He said with a people that are not even a people in the book of Job. All right. Now let's see. The same book, same chapter. What is the Allahayah saying about this specific group of people? Let's see what he says. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 32. For their vine is of the vine of what? Oh, of Sodom. and of the fields of what? Of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall and clusters. Excuse me, their clusters are bitter. So the Most High says this nation, he's going to make us jealous. Nation. And not only a foolish nation, he said this nation, in the book of Job, he said that they are the base of all nations. The word base means the lowest of all nations. So if you're an Israelite, you Yashar'alam, you Beni Yaakov, you Chochuk Musa, you Yaladim Yashar'alah, all right? The Most High has already told us his perception of the other nations in comparison how he viewed our grandparents. Now, this doesn't give us the right to be jerks, to be butt heads, to be rude, to be, you know, non-acceptance of anyone who would like to join to our nationality, culture, learn about our power, our God, our way of life. This doesn't mean that we have to be unaccepting of them. We actually should be coming on a higher plateau to not perform the things that the oppressors done, that the other nations done. All right. So also the Most High tells us to not learn the ways of our enemies. Don't learn the ways of your captives. Don't learn the ways of the other nations. Why not? Because if we learn the ways of the other nations, then we might start doing them. And this is a major offense, la'alahaya, to the Most High. All right. This is a major offense to us to learn the ways of the other nations. All right. So when he tells us not to, we have to keep his law, statutes, commandments. Now I'm going to present something real quick tonight, and I'm going to let y'all know, viewer discretion advised. This is troubling. This is very unsettling. All right. We're going to get started. Hey, shalom, everybody. MASHPACHAA. All right. One West salute to y'all. We're going to get started real quick with just a video clip that I'm going to play. I'm going to do the rest of this video on Facebook, but I'm going to do a part on YouTube, part on Facebook, and then maybe we can bring them all together. All right, so let me get this real quick. All of these are my search bar menus that's at the top of the screen. These are the things that I've been studying recently. All right, looking up early church fathers, etc. Deuteronomy 32, once again. All right, hallelujah. Chapter 2, Beverly and Ben Kiss. I don't know how many of you all seen the movie It, but it was pretty big. It was a pretty big box office movie, man. It was a big book, you know, thick book, thick book. And then it was a big movie. It was a scary movie, you know. And then in the earlier 2000s, you know, they made a remake of it, a reboot of it. Well, whenever they make reboots of books, you have to remember the books are always better than the movies. The books are always better than movies, flat out, hands down. You're always going to get more detail. You can use your imagination when you're reading the book. And that's the dangerous part about this. Because usually, and I've written before, usually when you write, the vibration of whatever, whatever you're under, what you're going through, we're under the vibration of Yahweh, and the Holy Spirit. But if you're not under the vibration of Ha-Rawach Kodash, the Spirit Holy, then, it's possible for you to be under a negative influence. And I personally believe that Stephen King, along with Steven Spielberg, are both up under satanic and wicked influences. And you can't tell me they write the best books. And this is the best. And listen. I'm so sorry that so many of us have a Gentile mind state. I'm not giving no credit to these Gentiles for being nothing but what they are, for doing nothing but what they do. When they do righteous by us, all praise. The Most High says, if you give a prophet a cup of water, you get a prophet's reward. So I salute all the Goyim that do right, by the Most High and by his children, by his only begotten son, by his children, but the ones who don't and just blatantly display their wickedness and their I don't know what their outcome is going to be. All right. So Ken's my favorite. No, he's not. Listen, this dude in his book, he wrote the most disgusting child sex scene. And a lot of us didn't even know it was in there. You feel me? It wasn't until recently that I found out about it, which is now my obligation, my duty to tell you and teach you about it. Stephen King wrote in the child sex scene with these children in the book, It. And in the book, they, first of all, these characters are around the age of 11 years old. All right. So in the book, the movie, they're a little bit older. In the actual book, in the movie, they're a little bit older. In the actual book, they're like 11. Okay. 11, 12, 13. All right. Then the older kids, they're like 15, 16, 17. Well, the bully, y'all remember the bully team, the cool guy, you know, his little bully squad. What was the name of them little weirdos? Because when you see the movie, you're like, man, everybody in here is just weird. Everybody here, like, and there's some stuff that's in the movie that just doesn't line up. You know, it's like, what's up with this? You know, what's up with this whole scene with them wearing their drawers and you know, and being all lovey-dovey, huggy, friendly? I remember when we was 11 and, you know, I kicked it with homeboys and homegirls. We didn't just play in our drawers like that, you know? Then you see the movie Beverly, she's kissing everybody. You got to ask yourself, why is she doing all these actions? Why was it in the old movie when Beverly got in trouble, she got in trouble for looking at a note. And her father was like, you being fast? You talking to some boys? What you hiding behind your back? And she was lying. And she was like, nothing. And she got in trouble for lying. And then the father tore up the note, he threw it down. Beverly, he scooped up the note, the poem, whatever. Beverly shouldn't have did that. The scripture says if you have a daughter whose eye is shameless, keep a watchful eye on her. Beverly was a shameless daughter in this movie. She was a zanah. And here goes something else a lot of you might not know. This movie, It, was also based off of Stephen King's childhood. All right. We don't know where the killer clown part came from. Don't even focus on the clown. All right. Don't even focus on that. Maybe he had a clown phobia. All right. Maybe he had a weirdo uncle that was from his family who used to run around naked with a clown, whatever. We see a couple elements that's in this movie, It, that have more child-based, coming to age, developmental scenes than it actually has with the damn clown. The majority of these scenes are the losers club, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old children, all hanging out together. It's not uncommon to be, you know, we're the dorky crew. We're at that weird age in life to where we're not cool, but we're just now coming out of being kids, but we're still kids. That's not uncommon. And then have the next age bracket, teenage boys, old enough to drive a car. One of them got a switchblade. Yeah, man. That's not uncommon. I mean, you have these social brackets, but what is uncommon is when you go through the book and then you line it up with the movie. Even when you watch the movie alone, you like some stuff ain't lining up. Again, the comparison when Beverly had the note and she was hiding from her Abba and her Abba found the note. Now, you know, I'm an Abba, so I'm going to take the side of the father. All right. The father asked her a question. He said, what you got? She lied. She said nothing. I'm actually going to play this scene. That's why we're doing screen share, because I'm going to play the scene. So we're going to be watching some scenes from the movie It. All right. And a couple other things. You're going to be watching. All right. So for those of you who are scared of clowns, man, y'all got to get over that. Funny thing about Pennywise, man, the clown, you know, it had no power if you were not afraid. All right. I think that's absolutely funny because people are still afraid. All right. So here's a few scenes that we have. All right. We got It Chapter 2, Beverly and Ben kiss. Now, I know that there's a lot of weird things that a lot of people didn't get, that I didn't get until this one connection was made. And I'm encouraging y'all, stick through to the end of this video because it's going to blow your mind. I was just like, wow, how disgusting. All right. So let's see. Let's get everything lined up. All right. I'm going to scoot this back again. All right. Salute to our MASHPACHAA, to our families that's in Toledo, Ohio. The Most High's will, MASHPACHAA, Yasha'Allah, the government official, will be traveling to Toledo, Ohio to do the ministry there also. All right. So one way salute to all the family in the Toodly-Doo. All right. So check this out. So I don't know if anybody's seen It 1, It 2. Spoiler alert. I'm going to be talking about the movie the whole way through because the movie's just terrible. Now, this is a scene at the end of It Part 2. Now, everybody's gathered around Beverly. All right. Everybody's gathered around Beverly. Everybody's gathered around Beverly. There's 5 men. Now, in this movie, there's only 4 of them because one of them killed himself. 5 men gathered around this one girl, right? All right, that's the scene. We're going to look at that. This scene right here is Beverly versus Alvin Marsh. And it couldn't just be like, you know, Beverly against Beverly's father, corrects her for sneaking, or it had to be Beverly versus Alvin. That's her Abba. That's her father, yo. All right. So we're going to look at this scene real quick. All right. And I'm going to show y'all, I'm going to point out some stuff in this scene. I apologize. The screen is kind of dark. I'm going to enlarge and everything. All right. And this guy right here, he does a commentary, and you can look this video up. I'm just going to play a quick part from his commentary. All right. That's something I'm studying right there. The Apocalypse of Peter, man. That book right there, it actually came out before. If any of you have heard of this book right here, this is called The Divine Comedy. All right. This book is called The Divine Comedy. If any of you have ever heard of The Divine Comedy is also known as Dante's Inferno. All right. Dante's Inferno is a great book. It's basically the Greek version of the Apocalypse of Peter. It's basically the Greek version of the Apocalypse of Paul. It's basically the Greek version of Flavius Josephus's discourse on Hades. Okay. And this is of course our intro song for the night. Heart of a Lion, Shabba ranks, Shabba. All right, so let's get back to this real quick. I'm gonna pause this. And lastly, we have this video. All right, so we're gonna start with not the gentle Eating My Boy reading first. We're gonna start with these scenes. Okay, we're gonna break down a few of these, and then we're gonna get into the meat of this thing, because this is truly a troubling situation, truly a troubling topic. All right. I don't want to hear nothing about Michael Jackson and R. Kelly. All right. And these Gentiles been making millions off a little known portion of a pornographic scene inside of a horror movie called It. All right. So let's see if we can get this load up real quick. And let's see what we got. Let me see. Oh man, it's time for a new computer, man. Oh man. All right, let's see. I think we got it. We good? All right, let's see. Let's get it. Play? Go on.
One of my things down in the woods with this boy.
No, nothing. You don't have to worry. I promise.
What's this?
It's nothing. It's just a poem.
Just a poem? But you have died in your underwear drawer. Why would you have?
All right, so I'm gonna run the scene back real quick. Now, I want everybody to pay close attention between the dynamics of Alvin Marsh and Beverly Marsh. Now, the way they did it was in the new version, they tried to make it seem like Alvin Marsh was a child molesting, abusive father. They changed the complete dynamic of what the father was in the first one. In the first one, the father was actually trying to keep Beverly from being a whore. In the newer version, they show him as, being an abusive, kind of insinuating, leading to that he has some type of sexual premise with the little girl, which may have caused her to have her problems. But that's not what the case was in the book. All right, let's look at this real quick. Let's see what you all say. Hold on. Man, pray for your brother, man. We need a new laptop over here. This boy is over here doing the woogle waggles. This thing is struggling to play, boy. It's not working on YouTube. I ain't know, son. It's the laptop. All right.
My things down in the woods with those boys.
No, nothing. You don't have to worry. I promise.
What's this?
It's nothing. It's just a poem.
Just a poem. But you have died in your underwear drawer.
All right, everybody see this? They're making it look like as if Alvin Marsh is this abusive, intimidating, whispering, holding his daughter too tight, and she's trying to get away, going through her underwear drawer, man. Let's see what happens.
Why would you have to hide it there? Are you still my girl?
No.
What did you?
Are you still my girl? No. Now he could be saying like, are you still my little girl? Like, are you still a virgin? But it don't sound like he's saying it like that. It kind of sounds like he's saying, are you still my girl? That can be taken so many wrong ways. Now, for me, I'm an Abba, so I'll be saying, are you still my virgin? Are you still Bakwala? Are you still pure? Are you still set apart? But then again, we don't approach and deal with our daughters like that. So for her to say no, that insinuates something too. Let's see.
Did you say?
I said no!
Now she first of all, you shouldn't have yelled in your father's face like that. Then she snatched herself away and fell down like a dummy.
Those boys, do they know that you're
Now, I don't know where they were going with that. She obviously kicked him in the rod before he had a chance to say it, but does the boys, do they know that you're my, and my do those boys? This whole scene is wrong. So this new remake of how this first scene actually happened is just trash. It makes it look like as if the father is the attacker and he's the harsh, rude one, and the daughter just wants to get away and go be with her little friends because she's the little girl, but she's not his little girl no more. She's emancipating herself. Kick him in the nuts and get away, girl. No, you're going to hell. The Most High said, he that despises his mother is the curse of the Most High. He that dishonors his father is a blasphemer. All right. Proverbs, Sirach chapter 3. All right. This girl is a blasphemer. The way that they redid this movie is completely terrible because they make it, I can't even say I don't even know who the hell they are. Okay. But I will say this. The original concept of this was not this scene. The original concept was the little girl was reading a note that she wasn't, a poem that she wasn't supposed to be reading from a boy who she wasn't supposed to be talking to. And they just flipped the whole thing to make it look like, oh, the dad's trying to rape the little girl. K.O. Sorry about that. All right. So this is the scene from the new version of it, which shows Beverly Marsh. Now, remember, this is not the original version. It shows Beverly Marsh going against her biological father for what? Because her biological father attemptedly looks like trying to rape her. All right. Now let's go to the older version, to the original version. We're going to see, what's the difference. Okay. Let's get a full screen of it real quick. All right. As it loads. Now I just want everybody to keep in mind what you just saw. Okay. What did you just see? We're going to play the old school game. Can you recognize the differences? Okay. And then also keep this in mind too. What was the message that was being portrayed? All right. Now, this is recorded off of an old school TV, so I apologize. Also, the volume isn't going to be so great. But this is how this scene starts, okay? Young Beverly. Now, look at her on this one. Little pigtails, ponytails. So sorry about that. Little ponytails, not all looking scruffy and worn out. That girl that they had playing Beverly, she's supposed to be 11 years old. That other scene looked like that girl was a good 17 going on 40. Like she done been smoking and everything. So this is 11-year-old Beverly from the original version. Let's see what happened.
January embers. My heart is there too.
Stop. Hey, just came in the door, baby. Just came in the door, Beverly. He came in all cheerful. It wasn't all, even the cinematics is different. It wasn't an all dark and gloomy scene. It made it look like the abusive dad wanted to come in and just, you know, you're my little girl. Those boys know you're my little girl. Why you got this note? You're trying to hide a note from me from some boys that you're seeing? First of all, on this scene, Alvin comes in, the whole different vibration, and he asks her a question. He says, what you got there? And you see what the girl did? She lied. She lied to her Abba and said nothing. Watch. That's the first problem. Let me see that. Now, does this look anything like the first movie? Don't be like, oh, it's older. No, it's a whole different message. You see that? He said, are you doing something you shouldn't? The first scene, the newer version, tried to make it look like he was a child molester, like he was molesting and beating his own daughter. This version just shows, listen, this father said, hey, are you doing something you're not supposed to? What you got behind your back? Nothing. Yo, look at this setup, though. Look at it. Look at this plaid on plaid with the solid collar. I ain't gonna stunt. That shirt is hard. With the what's that? That's not salmon. Well, I don't know what color that is, but I would rock that with some fringes and a border on it. I wouldn't do this plaid on plaid though, not unless I was visiting Atlanta or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? I was trying to stick out with the fringes. but so what happens? So this little girl is lying. She hid something. He says, what? You doing something you're not supposed to? All right, let's go through this scene real quick. You see that? You've been fooling around with some boy. Poetry from some boy. I worry about you a lot, baby. Watch it. Now that was it. That was it. The little girl was disrespectful. She got brapped. The Most High said if a father had spit in his daughter's face, should she not be ashamed and shut up 7 days? What they did with these two scenes is just complete trash. They took one, and it's like they tried to make it more dramatic. Well, how can you make it more dramatic? Let's make it look like the father's actually abusing and raping her. All right? So keep that in mind. First of all, this father that's in this scene wanted to make sure Beverly wasn't doing things that she weren't supposed to do. Now let's move forward. All right. This right here is a Gentile. He called the social justice warrior or something like that. I don't really know. I don't really listen to him all like that. All right. I just don't. But I'm really glad that he did this video. All right, let's see what he has to say. We're at the 4 minute and 6 second mark. Let's see what he has to say.
Surprising. Earlier on in the book, Henry Bauer accepted.
Now, does everybody remember Henry Bauer? Remember, I said this book is full of child molestation and homosexual scenes, child sex scenes, homosexual scenes. All right.
Earlier,
Henry Bauer. Everybody remember him? He was the bad guy. And in the new version, you know, he was in. I think he went to a mental institution or something like that. I don't know. But he was the bad guy that was going through chasing, you know, the greaser with the greaser. And then I'll be looking at these movies and I'll be thinking, like, I would have beat the brakes. Like right now, like I just don't know, man. You know, of course, we were living in some hard and terrifying times back then. We're living in hard and terrifying times now. But you go back and you look at these dudes, and you're like, man, I would have dog walked you. I would stomp you. What, man? Ain't nothing intimidating about them little busters, man. But as we said before, Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 32 says the vine of Sodom. All right. Let's see what happens in the actual book. Let's run it back just a second. Pay close attention.
Surprising. Earlier on in the book, Henry Bauer accepts a hand job from his guy friend, only to stop to beat him up after he asks him if he wants him to suck it. I guess he didn't say no.
Edomites, man. So he's about to crack a joke, and then look at this cracker. He got this disrespectful, Negro, big lip, big mouth, wide-eyed, big gold earring, hula dance, and tiki in the background. You feel me? So ain't nobody showing you no respect, man. Get out of here, Gentile. So these are the bad boy squad. All right. In the movie, these were the bullies. These are the 15, 16, 17-year-old crew. All right. Now, I don't know if y'all caught that, but I'm gonna play that again. What actually happened in the book? Watch this.
Hand job from his guy.
Wait a minute. Man, I'm so sorry.
Henry Bauer accepts a hand job from his guy friend.
Henry Bauer accepts a hand job from his guy friends. Now, I don't know if you know what a hand job is, but it's when a person takes their hands and they go to work. Like they pick up nails, they start hammering stuff in the walls. They use their hands to fix things. So a hand job is something that Henry received from one of his friends. But who was his friends?
My friend. Only to stop to beat him up after he asks him if he wants him to suck it. I guess he did.
Here go Henry Bauer's homeboy squad. All right. In the movie, he had the greaser crew. And his whole crew was body boys. That's something that they didn't show in the movie. The boy Henry was a body guy, man. Now that's one disturbing part. All right. This next part is going to last a little bit longer, probably like 10 minutes, maybe 7. This Gentile, I'm going to let him read this scene. And as you can see, the heading is called Reading the Child Sewer Scene in Stephen King's It. What he did was left out the word sex. The child sex sewer scene in Stephen King's It. So I'm going to let this little go young read it to y'all, and then I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to show it to you in the book so you'll be able to see it for yourself. Like I said, once I do this video on Facebook, on YouTube, I'm going to do the same video on Facebook and maybe even bring out some more stuff. But first, I just wanted to introduce the concept of this wickedness to everybody so y'all can be aware, stop playing these Gentile customs. Stop doing these things that these other nations do that Yahweh told us not to do. All right. Let's hear it from the Gentile itself.
Let's get reading. Eddie comes to her first. He's the most frightened. But the way he would have nothing to be comforted. He doesn't draw back first it's the first if he feels it. He's trembling. And although she in this darkness, it's perfect, even though she cannot see him. Except the rough cast, he might as well be a phantom. You have to put your hand in me. And I haven't met you first. But you follow me on Twitter. There's someone that follows me on Twitter. Don't take it like that. He tries to pull back, but she holds him, and he subsides against her. She has heard someone. Ben, she thinks, draw in his breath. Bevy, I can't do that. I don't know how. I think it's easy, but you'll have to get undressed. She thinks about the intricalities of managing caste first somehow separating and then rejoining them in amends. Your pants away. I hate you, Stephen King. You can, she says, and pulls him down. The surface of her back and legs is firm, lily, dry. The distance under the water is drowsy, soothing. She reaches for him. There is a moment when her heart beats. Hard for a minute, and then she closes her arms around his neck.
Where father intervenes. Now, I don't believe this is talking about her father actually having sex with her. I believe this is a part of her father correcting her, all right, reprimanding her, telling her, what? And what does she do? She closes her eyes. She focuses back on basically getting gangbanged in a sewer.
Her smooth cheek against his smooth cheek. And as he tentatively touches her small breasts, she sighs and thinks for the first time. This is Eddie. And she remembers a Jane July. Could it only have been last month when no one else turned up in the Barrens but Eddie? And he had a whole bunch of little Lulu comic books and then read together almost all the afternoon. Lulu looked for beetleberries. I don't care. And getting in all sorts of crazy situations. It had been fun. This is probably not fun for him either. She thinks of birds, in particular of the grackles and starlings and crows that come back in the spring, and her hands go to his belt and loose it. And he says again that he can't do it. She tells him that he can. She knows he can, and what she feels is not shame or fear now, but a kind of triumph. Where, he says, and that hard thing pushes her in her thigh. Here, she says, Bevy, I'll fall on you, he says. And she hears his breath starting to whistle painfully. Let me remind you that these kids are 12. Or
11.
11. They're probably 11, which probably makes it more shocking. Freaking 14-year-old French girl. I think that's sort of the idea she tells him. And holds him gently and guides him. He pushes forward too fast, and there's pain. She draws her breath in, her teeth biting at her lower lip, and thinks of all the birds again. The spring birds, lining the roof peaks of houses, taking wing at all once under low March clouds. Beverly, he says uncertainly, are you okay? Go slower, she says. It'll be easier for you to breathe. He does move more slowly, and after a while, his breathing speeds up, but she understands that it's not because there's anything wrong with him. There's a kid's doing it in the sewers after defeating an evil clown. I'm not even gonna list. Not even CinemaSins can point out how wrong this is. The pain fades. Suddenly he moves more quickly. Then stops. Stiffens. It makes a sound. Some sound. She senses that this is something him. Something extraordinary. Extraordinary. God, I'm so good at reading. Special. Something like flying. She feels powerful. She feels a sense of triumph rising up strongly within her. Is this what her father was afraid of? Well, he might be. You know, if your 12-year-old child is doing it with a bunch of 11-year-olds. Sick.
Thank you. And that's the point. A lot of us didn't know this. This movie, the original book, had a pornographic, and as you're listening, you can even hear the detail that Stephen King's putting into it. These are adults that's reading Stephen King's book. These are adults. Listen, this whole nation, every movie, every Netflix has some type of demonic influence that has some type of perversion that's diametrically opposed to how Yahweh told us to be. Oh, she getting gunned out. Listen, y'all, in the sewers by 5 boys. Now, I know some of you all may have experienced that, and you can repent. Don't do it no more again. But we don't promote this. We don't teach this. And this is a problem because this book is sold thousands of copies. You have adult men and women reading this, getting hot all up under the collar, thinking about Beverly getting banged out in the sewer while she think about the birds fluttering off of her roof. And then her thought was, is this what my dad was afraid of? Absolutely. Absolutely.
6 11-year-olds actually. There was power in this act. All right. A chain-breaking power that was blood deep. She feels no physical pleasure, but there is a kind of mental ecstasy in it for her. She senses the closeness. He puts his hand around her neck and she holds him. He is crying. Probably freaking traumatized. Doing it when you're not even a teenager yet. She holds him. Feels the part of him that made the connection between them began to fade. It is not leaving her exactly. It's simply fading, becoming less. When his weight shifts away, she sits up and touches his face in the darkness. She takes his head. She feels it with her hand against his cheek. I don't think it was exactly like the big boys said, but it was. It was really something. He speaks slow. So the others can't hear.
Now, notice that what she said. She said, I don't think it was exactly like the big boys say, but it was something. This girl has sex with all 5 of these boys in the sewer. This scene we didn't know was in there, you know, and I want to just encourage everybody, Yasharla, man. First of all, I stay away from a lot of stuff on purpose because I already know it's like, yeah, I'm cool. That's probably hot. That's probably something I don't want to touch. All right. The maturity of how Stephen King wrote this, even from the perspective of how these children would speak, shows you that there's something wrong with Stephen King. The fact that he wrote himself in here as Bill, he's supposed to be Bill in the story. All right. He's Bill in the story. So he does the gangbang in Stephen King's mind, also in the book. But it might be something that he actually lived. You feel me? Because at the end of it, I'll let y'all see for yourselves. Hold on, let me finish this up.
I love you, baby. Her conscience breaks down a little there. She's quite sure that there's more talk, some whisper, some loud. And can't remember what it said. It doesn't matter. Does she have to walk each of them into it all over again? Please no. Yes, probably.
You see that? Do I gotta walk each one of them through this? Yes, probably.
But it doesn't matter.
They
have to be talked into.
They gotta be talked into it.
It's essential human link between the world and the infinite.
This bastard. It's an essential. Stephen King is the devil that the Bible speaks of. It's an essential even human link between the world and what? At what point in time did child sex, gangbang, orgies in a sewer become the common link with everybody and infinitely what? The Most High said that they are the vine of Sodom.
The only what dream touches eternity. It doesn't matter. What matters is love and desire. Here in this dark is as good a place as any. Better than some. Maybe. What was that, Stephen King? No, come on, Stephen. What was that? What was that? I'm ashamed to wear this costume. I'm ashamed to own this costume right here. I'm done reading your books, Stephen. I'm done reading your books. This is not what I imagined. Your books would be like, you know, you're the master of horror. You're the master of child pornography.
Thank you.
You're the master of creeping people out. Not what you like creepy clown because have you seen the Langoliers? Those things were creepy. But that's not what people are afraid of. You make children do it with each other. What is wrong with you, Stephen? I loved your books. I'm reading The Green Mile right now. How am I going to finish that knowing that you're the same guy who had a child orgy in his book? Did you not think anybody was going to read your book? You were just like, I'm so bored. I'm 1,000 pages into this giant book that everybody will purchase. You just think everybody will be bored with it? Oh, let's spice it up. Let's give it an edgy teen orgy scene. They're not even teenagers yet. They're like 11. I'm never gonna get over this, Stephen. I'm never gonna get over this.
All right, let's stop right there. Let that Gentile have his little moment while you get all red in the face. All right, so what we need is to be able to have the witnesses and the testimonies all to be able to come forward. I didn't want to be the only one. All right, so I'm gonna start reading it. This is something I put in my DuckDuckGo search right here. It was Alvin Marsh slaps Beverly, and you all can find the scenes. This is the original version. It's like the original version of 1990, and see, you can see the difference. This was the original Beverly, all right, and then you have this. You know, I don't know what this. She looked like she done experienced meth and everything. I mean, she just looks too mature to attemptably be playing a 11-year-old girl or an 11-year-old girl or an 11-year-old girl. All right. Just completely too mature. And it's like they went with this look so they can try to give her like more of an edgy, yeah, she seems like the type that'll do it to all the friends in the sewer, you know, but she doesn't. But this is the one that was written in the book. See? All right. So let's go ahead and scoot forward. All right, let's go ahead and scoot forward to see what we got up next, man. Bring out what we got up next, man. So that's Beverly. That's yeah. All right, so now here goes something else. I don't know if everybody remembers, but something that was always said in the book was, in part 2. Slock, let me turn this down. Something that was said in part 2.
One of the things I wanted to ask about was the relationship between
was that the clown kept saying, I know your secret. I know your secret. And they were saying it like, oh, they was talking about because the one dude was gay or sodomite in the scene. And it wasn't that. It was because all of them Yeeeeeah did that act that they weren't supposed to do. All right. Now we're gonna get right to it. We're gonna get right to it. And I'm really sorry to have to do this, but I'm gonna read some. I'm gonna read some of the book, man, so some of y'all can see for yourselves, man. All right. Let me see. Okay, so now remember we was talking about the one scene where what's his name, Doug Bauer or whatever, the one Bate boy, to where he, you know, did a homosexual act with another one of his peers. Well, this is the part of the book right here. Okay, so we're on Google books, and this is it, Stephen King. All right, we're on page 831. All right, so what's going on in this scene is you got Patrick, you got Henry, you know, and then the rest of the goon squad. All right, the rest of the idiot squad. And what they're doing is they're at a junkyard because Beverly was actually thinking she was going to see her friends there. She's going to meet her friends at the junkyard, all 5 of her boyfriends. All right. So in that disgusting, all 5 of her boyfriends at the junkyard. So long story short, what she's doing is she's hiding, and while she's hiding, she realized that that the older team, the older squad, the Bauer and his crew, what they're doing is they're outside and they're basically lighting their farts on fire. All right, they're farting and, you know, and lighting their farts on fire, and it's funny, I guess. I never thought it'd be, you know, interested to pass gas and make it fire come out my rectum. I just never thought that would be something that would be, you know, funny or fun to me. So, but this is what's going on. All right, so we're gonna start reading it from we're gonna start reading from page 831. All right, so ready? 6 feet, Henry bellowed. Now here's the scene. Keep in mind, Beverly is hiding. She's not out in the public with these older boys. She's supposed to be with the loser squad or whatever, but she's spying on the older boys at the junkyard. And this is what the older boys are doing. All right, they don't know that Beverly's there. All right, so this is what happened. 6 feet, Henry bellowed, just like a freaking blowtorch. And I'm not gonna say that, you know. They swear to their false god. Silence then for a while. Sweat trickled down her back. the sun beating through the Ford's cracked windshield on the nape of her neck. All right, all this sexuality. So we see she's hiding in a Ford vehicle and the sweat running down the nape of her neck, heaviness in her bladder. Henry bellowed so loud that Beverly, who had been close to dozing in spite of her discomfort, almost cried to herself, "Damn it, huckster. You burned my friggin' butt. You burned my freaking bum. All right, because they're putting a lighter to each other's rectums and farting. All right, what are you doing with that lighter? 10 feet, Patrick giggled. Just the sound of it made Bev feel cold and revolted. And if she had seen a worm squirm its way out of, as if she had seen a worm squirm out of her salad. 10 feet of it was an inch. 10 feet if it was an inch. Henry, bright blue, 10 feet if it's an inch. And then they say, swear to their false god. Give me that, Henry grunted. Come on, you, what is stupid, stoopnicks? Yeah, was that so like short for stupid niggas? All right. He says what? Go, get out. Then Patrick spoke again. When Patrick spoke again, his voice was so low, Bev could barely hear it. If there had been the slightest breath of wind on the air that baking afternoon, she would have, she would not have, what? She would not have done. Okay, I'm going to go for it. Let me show you something, Patrick said. What? Henry asked. Just something. Patrick paused. It feels good. What? Henry asked again. Then there was silence. I don't want to look. I don't want to see what they're doing now. And besides, they might see me. In fact, they probably will because you've used up all your luck today, girly-o. So just stay right here. No peeking. This dude is a flipping perv, man. But her curiosity had overcome her good sense. When there was something strange in that, silence, something a little bit scary, she raised her head an inch by inch until she could look through the Ford's cracked, cloudy windshield. She needed, I'm going to scroll this to the top. She needed have worried about being seen. So like that, she needed have worried about being seen. Both of the boys were concentrating on what Patrick was doing. She didn't understand what she was seeing, but she was nasty. Not that she would have experienced anything else, expected anything else from Patrick, who was just so weird. He had one hand between Henry's thighs and the other hand between his own. One hand was flogging Henry's thing gently. With his other hand, Patrick was rubbing his own. Except he wasn't exactly rubbing it. He was kind of squeezing it, pulling it, letting it flop back down. I'm sorry to have to read this. This is truly disgusting to my spirit also. What's he doing? Beverly wondered, dismayed. She didn't know, not for sure, but it scared her. She didn't think she had been this scared since the blood had vomited out of her bathroom drain and splattered all over everything. Some deep part of her cried out that if they discovered she had seen this, whatever it is, they might do to her more than hurt her. They might actually kill her. Still, she couldn't look away. She saw Patrick's thing. It had gotten a little longer, but not much. It still dangled between his legs like a snake with no backbone. Henry, however, had grown amazingly. It stood up stiff and hard, almost poking his belly button. Patrick's hand went up and down, sometimes pausing to squeeze, sometimes tickling that odd, heavy sack under Henry's thing. Those are his balls, Beverly thought. Do boys have to walk around with that all the time? I'd go crazy. Another part of her mind then whispered, Bill has those. This little heifer. It ain't her. It's Stephen King's sick and sadistic, nasty butt. I'm so sorry to have to read this pornographic information to you, this video to you, but I have to inform you, and you have to inform your family. All right, we got to inform each other, man. This is just a wicked Gentile nation, man. This dude wrote multiple child sex scenes, and this is a sodomite scene of a group of boys jacking each other off inside of a junkyard, man. Another part of her mind then whispered, Bill has those. And on its own, her mind visualized her holding them, cupping them in her hand, testing their texture. And that hot feeling raced over her again, sparking off a furious blush. Henry stared at Patrick's hand as if hypnotized. His lighter lay on the rocky scree beside him, reflecting hot afternoon sun. You want me to put it in my mouth? Patrick asked. His big, lively lips smiled complacently. Huh? Henry asked, as if he startled from some deep dream. I'll put it in my mouth if you want me to. I don't. Henry's hands flashed out, half curled, not quite a fist. Patrick was knocked sprawling. His head thudded on the gravel. Beverly dived back down again, her heart racing in her chest. Her teeth locked against a little whimper moan. After knocking Patrick down, Henry had turned, and for a moment, just before she dropped back into her little huddle ball on the passenger side of the drive shaft hump, it seemed that her eyes and Henry's had locked. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to save this scene. Again, I'm very sorry to have read that to you all. The sodomitic sex scene, and it was disgusting for me not only to read, but to read to you. So the sodomitic, and the scripture says to hear the whole matter, and then we can rebuke it. So the sodomitic sex scene between two boys in Stephen King's book, It, and then the imagination of the young 11-year-old girl whose name is Beverly, visualizing herself cupping Bill's balls, testing the texture of Bill's balls. Now keep this in mind. Stephen King wrote himself as Bill in this book. Stephen King's whole premise of this book, I don't know if he's scared of clowns or not. I don't know. Maybe that was a thing that he had. Maybe he's like, hey, clowns kind of freak me out, but I can also write about this time that we gang banged little Susie in the hand. The vivid description of masturbation, two men. We have Henry and Patrick, which I don't know if you all remember who Henry and Patrick were in the movie, but they were they were part of the greaser gang. The vivid description of Henry and Patrick's gesticulation with their hand is truly disturbing. Squeezing it, pulling it, letting it flop back down. Beverly's thought at being an 11-year-old girl. This is written by a man. All right. Can't blame none of it. Beverly don't exist. All right. Not unless these are real people based off of real characters based off of real, imaginary characters based off real people. You know what I mean, sir? So we can't fault the book. We can't even fault the character. Say the little girl was nasty. This all came out of the mind of a man whose name was Stephen King. Absolutely disgusting. It's so much more than just a creepy clown. They tried to make the clown the monster. No, the author of this book is the real monster. Those are his balls, Beverly thought. Do boys have to go around with those all the time? I'd go crazy. Another part of her mind then whispered, Bill has those. On its own, her mind visualized her holding them, cupping them in her hand, testing their texture. You see it for yourself, Yashala. The words are right here. The words are right here. I didn't make this stuff up. We didn't make this stuff up. All right. These things are really here, and it's right here. Now we're going to switch now. I don't know if y'all see I did it really quick. I'm going to switch over now. We're going to go. That was the boy sodomite scene. Now let's go to the girl scene. All right. So as y'all see, we switching over. This is we're on Google Books, and then this is it. All right. We're going to switch over to another Google Books, and then this is another it. But check this out. As I started to go through this, I was like, wait a minute, something's missing. You know, we're studiers, we're researchers. That's what we do. So we got 1099 right there, right? Check this out. Pages 1095 to 1098 are not shown in this preview. Why not? Because this is where the sex scene starts at. So they left some in here, but it's still bad enough to get the shit. All right. So now we're going to read Beverly's. Okay. Now we're going to read Beverly's portion. Okay. Now remember, all of this was written and made up by a Gentile author who got paid millions, not only from the books, but also from the movies. Okay. Let me go ahead and add this to my library. All right. Nah, I'll do it another time. It's all right. Okay, so watch this. Let's go ahead and read this. This is our little Beverly. It's our little 11-year-old. Right? And we got scriptures on this too. Okay. And the Most High says, if thy daughter is shameless, keep her in straightly. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's see what the scripture says. I mean, the scripture. Let's see what the book says. He tries to pull back, but she holds him in and subdues against her. She heard someone. Ben, she thinks, draw his breath. Bevy, I can't do that. I don't know how. I think it's easy, but you have to get undressed. She thinks about the intricacies of managing cast and shirt. First, somehow separating, parting. I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, that's separate. Okay, separating and then rejoining and amends. Your pants away. No, but she thinks part of him can, and look at this, and wants to, because his trembling has stopped, and she feels something small and hard which presses against the right side of her belly. This is straight disgusting. You can. You see that? The boy like, well, I can't do this. She realized his rod is hard. And she says, you can do it. And even right here, it says, and wants him to, and wants to. All right. She says, and pulls him down. The surface beneath her bare back and legs is firm, clay, dry. the distant thud of water is drowsy. She reaches for him. There's a moment when her father's face intervenes, harsh and forbidding. You see that? So a sexual predator and a deviant trying to say, "Are you my little girl? You're still my little girl." In the new version, they completely twisted it up to make it seem like the husband or the father was the bad guy, was the predator, but he wasn't. This is the part of women right, women's right, women war, and then it's not what happened in the original story. In the original story,